Oh, welcome back. Nice to see you here. Oh, this is great. It's been a long time. I always say that because every time I drop one of these episodes, it just feels like an entire eternity has passed since I last talked to you, since we last talked, right? Because this is a conversation. That's me slapping my knee. Welcome back to the Sarcastically Optimistic podcast. It's great to be here. It's great to be alive. It really is great to be alive. And I hope you feel the same way. I know that Easter just passed and spring break and all that good stuff. So hopefully you took the time to be with yourself and hopefully spending time with other people that you also care about and you know that care about you. Because what is this life without our friends and family, right? And we're just all great and should be happy to be here. And it was a great Easter season on my own personal experience. It's great. It was a great time to decompress and also spend time with family, spend time with friends, everything. And I just am coming out of this break, and hopefully everyone does, feeling very fortunate and blessed, right, to be where you are, because you're exactly where you need to be. Exactly what I always say in every episode. Please listen, you're exactly where you need to be. So I really hope that you guys have a great time. Welcome to this podcast if you're new here. And I'm just going to keep saying it, because I think we're at 10 now. I'm not quite sure, to be quite honest. But the reason why this was created is to kind of facilitate a conversation between each other, right? It's not just about me. This is not about my own personal story or anything. Maybe I will include some instances where I do mention it, but mainly this whole entire project is supposed to revolve around you, and also the internal workings are happening in your mind and putting them into light, right? It's not about like narcissism or things about just me, this, I, me, my, me, moo. I always say that because my mom always says that. It is about us. It is about us living in this present moment and trying to be our best selves and trying to maximize our potential. And hopefully your mission forms from, yes, loving yourself in some regard, but also maximizing your potential for the people around you. And the reason why it's called Sarcastically Optimistic is because you don't always have to be serious with the journey in life. Life is going to take you in a lot of trajectories, and you have to be optimistic, but you also have to be open to change. You have to be open to different avenues that are going to be kind of showing themselves to you, right? And a best coping mechanism, which I personally use, is sarcasm. And I just thought, putting two and two together, wow, how creative, right? No. Nothing creative comes out of this podcast. I take all of my ideas from fortune cookies. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I want to jump right in because I think I talked too much in the beginning. So once again, thank you for sticking around, and hopefully you're enjoying what you're hearing. I'm not really quite sure about the reach of this podcast nor the acclaim. I don't think there's any acclaim. But anyways, hopefully Will Smith doesn't come up and slap me. But just thank you for being here. I really enjoy talking with you, all of you, not in the podcast, but also outside, for those of you that really, want to have those conversations and also kind of suggest, sorry, I keep moving my hands and hitting the mic, but those of you that suggest things that we should be talking about. So going straight into the point, I always have topics, but I'm not really quite sure what the precise title of these things would be. So I want to talk about the inner child today, which is something that one of my friends brought up quite a while ago, and she was hoping that I would cover it, and I was like, okay, yeah, I will. And it took a while, but I did sprinkle it here and there in the last couple episodes about the inner child, and especially the conversation that we indulged in about the book Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, which discusses, right, essentially that our brains have beautiful ideas, and it's just totally up to us if we allow them to flow onto a canvas or onto a piece of work or a piece of paper, and allow it to kind of manifest itself, or we can just completely ignore it and allow it to, that big magic to just pass by and go to someone else, right? And the one important factor of that is honing in on your inner child. And what I mean by that is I'm not talking about like, every side inside everyone, there's a person who really, really loves Twinkies. That is your inner child. No, like an inner child isn't just about reliving your past traumas and childhood. If for those of you that had a rocky childhood, and there's many of us out there, there are some traumatic events that happen in your childhood, and having your inner child isn't supposed to be you reliving those scars, not supposed to be reliving those terrible memories, but also, just as a little disclaimer, it's not supposed to be kind of resurfacing things that have been suppressed for a while. But an inner child is essentially kind of a baseline in which where you first determined what you liked and what you didn't like, right? So if you kind of think about it, if you go back to when you were in elementary school or even before then, right? Try to think of the formative years in which, formative as in before the world had its grasp and its influence on you, right? Like what were you quite interested in, right? A lot of us love playing. Like you're very like kids and children are very playful beings, right? They're very playful, and the other thing that they are is very truthful. I don't know if you've ever been to a kid, but one kid went up to me and was like, "Wow, you are as brown as the chocolate milk that I drank earlier during lunch." That was a real interaction I had with a child. And God bless his soul, he's probably going to be the next like Elon Musk. I don't have no idea. But for me, who was the receiver of the comment, I'm glad to know that I was associated with a drink that he enjoyed. Okay, it was in elementary school. But if you think about it, when you go back, we were all children once. We weren't born adults. There's no Benjamin Buttons out there. That movie was fake, everyone. I don't know if I told you. I'm sorry. I feel like I just destroyed a lot of people's dreams. Yeah, the Benjamin Button movie was pure fiction. The guy that like ages in reverse, like he was born an old person and then he died a baby. Like, I don't think that happens. There is accelerated aging, which is another scientific, topic we can dive into, but which is, you're born a baby, but you exponentially increase in age, like you like mature wise, like anatomically, like your anatomy is maturing faster. But I went off topic. The inner child. Let's go back to it. The inner child is the person that spoke to you first, right? Yeah, your parents talked to you a little bit, but what I mean by speaking to you is internally, right? It was telling you what you like, what you didn't like. You didn't really care much about other children's opinions yet. Like, you see a lot of children hitting each other. Like they don't really know or grasp the concept of consequences quite yet. They're very truthful, right? If they kind of label you very similarly to their chocolate milk, they had no ill will behind that. They just wanted to make that comment because they are truthful people. You were truthful children once, right? Just keep that in mind. And that was a real interaction, that child milk thing. But I just wanted to say is that the inner child is kind of the first basis of our personality. We know exactly when we were, in kindergarten coloring, or that's why there was a lot of things happening in the curriculum preschool and kindergarten, like drawing, coloring, all these, very unorthodox activities when you go to college, right? Like you don't really color anything in college unless it's like a diagram of a cell or something. But it's a way to kind of test the waters as you are developing, right? Because those are the prime developing periods in which you're kind of determining and feeling what you like and dislike. You're trying to feel if you enjoy coloring or it's, you don't have the patience for it, right? And that's, both are completely valid scenarios and it happens every day. But that inner child is actually what really, really drove us to begin with, right? That's the years where we identified what exactly, and I keep saying this, what energizes us, right? We are identifying the activities and the people or the kinds of personalities and energies and toys and whatever that excite us, that give us life, that actively give us life. And those are, in its most raw form, present during your childhood, right? In the adult world, when you grow up, especially when you're already in elementary school, like sixth grade, middle school, and high school, you're already starting to form this perspective of, oh my gosh, what do they think of me? I shouldn't be saying this, I shouldn't be saying that, things like that, right? You're becoming more consciously aware of your surroundings. But as a child, you are in your most raw form where you're not really influenced by anything. You're not moved by anything. You're still learning that the stove, if it was on and you put your hand on it, it's going to be hot, right? But what I'm saying is, even before then, right, you are still determining who you are as a person. And that's why we shouldn't really disregard our childhood necessarily. Like it's not someplace we should stay, right? Like when you visit it in your memory, like they say, like the past is not a good place to it's not a good place to stay. It is a good place to visit, right? You can visit your past, like in your dreams, in your mind, and like, when you're thinking, it's a great place to visit your past. But it is not a good place to stay, especially if you're trying to kind of move forward. And when you make those visits, it's really important to note what exactly about those memories that you have about your childhood really invigorate you, right? What were the moments where you felt extreme happiness, or you felt extreme anger, frustration, or sadness, right? Those are, if you think about it, they were at their most palpable forms when we were children, right? Like knowing that, knowing that, let's give me an example, like not being picked for handball, right? That is the most sad memory I can think of, right? Other than the socioeconomical world status. No, I'm just kidding. But like when you're a kid, like you're just not being picked for something, right? Like it's like not being picked for handball, and that reflects, your need for inclusion, or like you want to be part of something bigger. You want to belong, right, in a bigger community. And those small things, they do reflect how we are now, right? And that handball method, that is something that I take into account as well, going into my formative years, which is 20s and whatever. And I always think about that. That's like probably one of the saddest memories, not being picked for the handball team, or during that game or whatever. And I feel like when I think about it, it makes sense that I'm just completely obsessed with the idea of community, because we don't want, or I personally don't want anyone to be feeling left out, like they're not part of something, because we all belong in some regard. Like we are all pieces of a big puzzle, but we just need to find out where we fit. And, some places we don't, but, sometimes it's in our own control, in our own power, to find the places that it does fit, where we do fit in with the people that, fit well with us. And, that is all of that was coming from that memory of not being picked for the handball team. I was traumatized. Fourth grade was a crazy time for handball. That was like, wow, that was 2000 something. I don't want to say the actual year because I don't want to age myself. But going back to it, the inner child unlocks two things: your playfulness and your truthfulness, right? Or your trustworthiness or whatever. So the first one, your playfulness, it allows you to be open, to be curious, right? Your playfulness. Being playful means also playing with things that you enjoy. But how do you find the things that you enjoy? You have to be somewhat curious about everything that's around you, right? And we talk about this in many, many episodes, that you should try different things that like allow you to go outside of your comfort zone, even just a little bit, and giving yourself justice enough to trust yourself to take that leap of faith for something that you don't really fully understand yet. Like, again, if you're into, you've always really revered photographers, and you've always wanted to do a camera, but you're like, I don't know, like I don't really know how to take pictures. Take that leap of faith. Trust yourself that you can learn these things. We are all lifelong learners. And when you're being curious about these things, right, like how does it feel to be the person taking the photographs, or how does it feel to be the person that is writing these articles, or things like that? Allowing that curiosity to flow within you, right, will allow you to be more open-minded about many different things, especially like we talked about, life goes in many different trajectories, and it allows you to be open-minded, to kind of have the mindset in which you are embracing opportunities that may not seem ordinary to you at first, but then, you continue to learn and learn and learn and be curious. And now you can be playful because you actually took the time to learn it. And now you're going to be playing around with a lot of these activities, and maybe they may potentially form what your career may be, or who you will be as a person. So for those of you that have always wanted to like sing, that always wanted to do art, that always wanted to do, want to get better at math, things like that, trust yourself enough to be curious and playful. Allow your inner child to kind of take the reins on you doing that activity, And maybe you will find some potential happiness that you never would have found if you didn't trust yourself in the first place, right? So the first thing in the inner child is you being playful. And that always starts with the root, which is curiosity. And the second one that I want to mention is truthfulness. It's not about saying people look like the chocolate milk you just drank during lunchtime. That's wrong, please. But the second one, truthfulness, is not just truth within, not truth to other people's faces, where it can, be borderline inappropriate and also really rude. I know I'm a very rude person, so I know rudeness very, very, very well. So truthfulness, as in you are truthful within yourself, right? You are able to trust yourself enough, right? And this feeds into the first one, which is playfulness and in curiosity, or playfulness rooted in curiosity. Truthfulness in terms of that you do not like something. So do not push yourself to keep doing something you don't like, or keep doing something, or don't keep, over obsessing over something that you're not good at, or things like that. And you're working so hard, and maybe you're trying to force the puzzle piece into this space right here, but you technically don't fit, but you're forcing it in. And, that comes with a lot of frustration, and you being truthful with yourself, understanding that, these are the things that I do like, these are the things that I don't like, and not in order to please what other people may perceive you to like and what you don't like. What do you like and what you don't like, right? And that is, again, very present when you are growing up. You know exactly what are the things that you do like and what you don't like. And specifically, right, for food, I don't know, for most of you, I was a picky eater when I was a kid. There were things when we were growing up that we don't like to eat. And we do like to eat, right? Mostly sweets when you're a kid. And I don't know if you think about it, there might be some areas in your diet, right? We're talking about food. There's some areas in your diet where you're still not eating the things that you didn't eat as a kid. So that's okay. And that is fine. That actually is a very great indicator that your inner child is still in there within you. Not in the gross way. It's there. It's your inner child is living within you. And you just need to know that. Your inner child, you should not let it die. Right? There will be notions in your life where your inner child just wants to just jump out of its shell, right? And for most people, it might be like going to a toy store, or going to things that really invigorate them, right? And I've seen even my dad, when he goes to Home Depot, his eyes brighten up, and because when he was a kid, sorry, I mumbled. It's because when he was a kid, he loved deconstructing a lot of things. He broke down the chairs in the dining room and the things like that. And when he goes to Home Depot, oh my goodness, it's like me going into Toys R Us, which doesn't exist anymore. RIP. But that was one thing that he enjoyed as a kid. And even as an adult, a full-fledged adult, like, no offense, Dad, for your age, but even as an adult, he still is rooted in deconstructing and constructing things. He loves building things. He's an engineer. He loves doing all that stuff. And that's still within him. That was within him when he was a kid. And now he's an adult and nothing has changed. So having those little notions where your heart jumps at the sight of something, or it reminds you of an activity when you were a child, those are great indicators to know that your inner child is there and it's trying its best to break out of its shell. And you have to trust yourself to allow it to break out of that shell, just so that you can have that abundant mindset in terms of being open to new opportunities, revisiting old activities that really brought life to your eyes and life to your heart, and think everything on the plate, right? And as we continue to go about this world and we are constructing our opinion, we're constructing how people think about us, and we feel very restricted. We have social media where we're comparing ourselves to Chris Rock and Will Smith and all that jazz. B-movie. I almost said a B-movie reference. All that jazz. You like jazz? All that jazz. It's very hard to understand who we are as people now, more than ever, more than your grandpa and more than your great-grandfather. I don't want to assume your family history of transgressions and tribulations, but it is extremely hard to know who we are as people in this day and age. And it's really, really scary. And it's because of social media. It's because we are bombarded with so many images. And I'm not just talking about photos, but videos, stories, articles, everything in this hyper-connected world. And we just set this race, this race in which we compare ourselves to celebrities and people. And when we know for a fact that we are all on our own respective path in life, and knowing who your inner child is, knowing that your inner child is there, is a great first step in the correct direction, which is the direction that you are taking in your own life. Because your inner child, the more you suppress it and for the sake of other people's opinions, and for the sake of what you think the world expects of you, the more you suppress that inner child, the more you're kind of, you're basically cementing it in place, right? You're not allowing it to move. You're not allowing it to grow and allowing it to thrive with you, alongside you, as you are maturing as a person. So one thing to keep in mind is that the more you suppress that inner child, that happiness, that excitement, that curiosity, you're actually taking steps further and further away from who you can truly be. And that is not just an injustice to yourself, but it is also injustice to the people you could potentially be serving as a beautiful human being that you are. Nah, I'm just kidding. That was supposed to be a kiss noise. I love you. I don't know why it feels weird saying that. But don't suppress it. Don't silence that inner child of yours, because it is there for a reason. And you have to understand that that inner child is going to grow alongside you, no matter how far you are down the journey, right? And you need to appreciate it for what it is, because it is playful and it is truthful. And those are the two big things that this world needs right now. We need playful people. We need people that, are not taking life too seriously, that really want to be playful, that want to remind people that there is light everywhere, but we just have to merely look. And being truthful, we have to know ourselves, right? We have to know that we can be truthful with ourselves in order to construct a overall truth in which all people can benefit, right? So this is a great time that we live in, because it really puts up the challenge of who are you? Who are you going to be? And I know we mentioned that it's very difficult during this time where we are comparing ourselves constantly with these supermodels and all these weird people on the internet, all these celebrities. And, we know more about Kim Kardashian than we did about all the French Revolution combined now. And we are bombarded with these paths, these obscure celebrities. Excuse me, I went too close to the mic now. These obscure celebrities, and these, even our fellow peers, were comparing ourselves to, like, why are they doing this? And I'm just stuck here in my parents' house, and things like that, which gets you nowhere comparing yourselves to other people, because you are beautiful the way you are. And one step, if you are trying to step forward into the realm of uniqueness, right, for you to stand out as an individual, to stand out as a beautiful human being that you are, is holding your inner child by the hand and growing and going with it, or with her or him, them. You're going with them as you are going through your journey, right? Because your inner child is a part of you. And it is a reflection and a reminder that you are a beautiful and unique person in your own right. And you will find people that will love you for who you are. There will be people that will not appreciate you for who you are. But the people that will appreciate and love you for who you are heavily outweigh those that don't. There will be far more people that will love you than those that will brush you aside. And it's totally up to you to decide who those people are. Because I definitely have those people in my life where, they're brush you aside. But I do have much more people that I know deeply care about me. And this one's for you. No, I'm just kidding. I love you guys. You guys know exactly who you are. So if you are trying to be unique, you are unique. Remember that. You are not a carbon copy of someone else that has ever lived. And your inner child is a testament of that. Always be playful by being curious. And always be truthful with not just other people. And for those of you that know me personally, I do know that I playfully lie a lot. So this is a very, very like, oh, you dang hypocrite. You know what the origin of the word hypocrite is? Nah, we'll talk about it later. I'm not a hypocrite sometimes. So being playful, rooted in curiosity. Be curious so you can find places and activities in which you can be playful with. And 2, be truthful. Not just with other people, but be truthful with yourself. Do not tell people that they're as white or as dark as the milk that you drank in the cafeteria a week ago. Please. I really hope that kid's been doing well. I always think about that, and it's hilarious, right? It's totally up to you how you see the scenario. I laughed really hard. I knew the kid was innocent. Wait, maybe he wasn't. Huh. What a jerk. Anyways, well, this was a great episode. I had a good time. Hopefully you did too. And I really appreciate everyone that's been on this journey. I think we're at 10. I don't want to count. You shouldn't count. Do not count your days. Make your days count. You heard it here, folks. We did it. Okay, cool. Well, this is a great time. It's really late right now. I really procrastinate on these, but I really want to make these episodes as genuine as possible. And, hopefully that comes across to you guys. Like, I don't really write much before this. And usually when I write something, I usually modify it right before I record and as I go. But I love each and every one of you. You guys are amazing people. And hopefully you take the time tonight, hug your inner child for me. Because you got to love them. You got to please them. And you got to love them very, very dearly. All right, everyone. It's been a joy and it's been a delight talking to all of you. I'm really looking forward to what's coming next in this project. Wink, wink. I keep saying that, and this is going to happen, and I promise you this. So, to everyone that's listening, I love you all. You're exactly where you need to be. Hopefully, you enjoy your week. Have a very blessed week. If you don't listen to this podcast, shout out to you guys. Yes. Also to you that don't listen, I love you guys too. You guys are awesome. To my family and friends that made my spring break and Easter break feel so full, right? Love-wise, full of love, a heart full of love. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. You're exactly where you need to be. Do not be tempted by the world to follow a path or a template in which they set. You set the template of life for yourself. You set the pace. You are the DJ of your own life. Life is a musical. Do not forget to sing and dance. Now we're going to throw all the cliche stuff on you right now. All right, everyone. Well, you have a great week. Stay strong. You got this. I'm right here. If you need help, that kid that drank that milk in the cafeteria, think of him. That was Elon Musk. Nah, I'm just kidding. But he's going to do great things in some place. I don't know where. All right, everyone. Well, you have a great, great week. If you ever need me, be right here, next to my monkey, next to my guitar, and next to my cup of tea. All right, everyone. Well, I'll catch you on the flippity flip. Goodbye.
Baby, why you always smoke a J, relax and watch some anime, come through to the pad I'm trying to play. A Super Smash Bros, what you know? Wait to let me pick Lucario.